Hey, buddy, watch this.
Hello, hello, Regis Gilbin is the name, and Command and Conquer Rivals is the game, and this video is sponsored by EA. And in it, we're going to learn about, well, learning from the pros, because although I think I'm pretty good at this game so far, and I still have a lot of things to teach, I know that personally I have some shortcomings, some things I still can learn, and one of the best ways to learn in any game is watching what players who are much better than you are doing to see if there's anything you can glean from their experiences. And thankfully in Command & Conquer Rivals, they have a replay system available where you can go and check out replays from anybody. So you can go to the very highest leagues, which is what we're going to do today with the Tiberium League, and watch a game or two from the Tiberium League and see, okay, what are they doing differently than I'm doing? What kind of decisions, what kind of units are they using? What do their loadouts look like? How are they playing the map? All of these different aspects can give you some insights that you otherwise might not learn, and that will make you much, much better. So that said, I've prepared two different games for us to review real quickly and see if there are some neat little things we can learn along the way. That said, let's go ahead and jump into the first Tiberium League game right now. Okay, so here we go, loading up. And just a reminder, this is not me playing. This is, I think, Boom Boom versus, let's see the name here in a second, the Goatbert. And this is, again, the highest level of play. These guys are both in the highest league available in Command & Conquer Rivals. You can see here both build really cheap units, but also immediately go for the Harvester, which in my league right now, most people aren't building Harvesters right away. And they actually seem to have the exact same loadout. Although with Boom Boom, you can see already built 2 units, whereas Goatbert committed to another unit building of another factory here, and instead pumps out a missile squad, which I think he realized is going to be a fairly favorable matchup. In some cases, also just a cheap unit, and moves right to the point, which I find intriguing because he kind of gave Boom Boom there the 2-on-1 lineup, which usually if you can go 2v1 in any unit battle, that gives you a huge advantage. And on this map, I've never seen this map before, you'll see that central point actually has 4 different hexagons in it, which is totally new to me too. I've never seen that. And that has some intriguing strategic implications because now each individual hexagon there, each tile in that point can be 2v1'd from another tile. And in fact, you can, each side can have 2 units each on that central point, which usually there's always some sort of natural 2v1 dynamic on a 3-tile point. But on a 4-tile point, it stays 2v1 or 2v2, but they can kind of line up where there's always 2 units facing down another one. So that's interesting. Anyway, we've got some crazy back and forth here. And I will say, a lot more unit spam than I've seen in my league so far. Building really cheap units and microing them a ton. We see units just moving all over the battlefield here, jostling for position late in the missile sequence there, because of course, if you maintain control right now, it looks like blue is maybe going to eke this one off. Yes, just by keeping really cheap units flying into the control points here, was able to contest 2 of those while holding the top point. And because they had that 1-point advantage over the other 2 contested points, able to sneak out that missile, which is pretty intriguing. But now we can see committing to a larger tank unit there, while red is pumping out some APCs. And those APCs are going to give some real stickiness to red, because even after that APC dies, it's still going to pop out a missile squad. So really just trying to hold these points, because I guess they're behind now, red is, and they're thinking, okay, how can I get some stickiness here and maybe swing this back in my favor? Also, just sending units there is Goatbert in red all the way back to the blue base. I think just trying to, distract, keep things moving, keep things busy for blue, so they're always on the back foot while they pump out these giant APC units here, which is pretty crazy. But now blue has a firm hold in mid, or, well, not quite yet, actually, still, huh? These things have so much health, and there goes the missile squad popping out of the APC in mid, but going to be cleaned up pretty easily there. But red does enough to hold, and now this thing's even. I thought blue came out to a really strong start and had a big advantage. You'll note, by the way, still only 1 harvester for each of these players so far, which is, I find that very rare in my league so far. It seems like everybody always tries to get 2 harvesters as soon as possible, but I think that's a really important note to learn from, because I've always noticed in late game scenarios that there's just so much spare Tiberium. Everybody has like 300 extra Tiberium, and it's really the unit choke points of not being able to build as much stuff that's a problem. The Tiberium itself never really becomes a choke. You always have excess. So why waste that 60 Tiberium kind of playing for a super high powered Tiberium late when you can just instead commit to one harvester and have enough to work with and just keep spamming out units. As we're seeing here, this missile's almost done and it's going to be the final one. Blue's base has also just been attacked directly, but it looks like red right now is holding. Oh, blue sneaks it by that great contest, just sending one tiny unit there, bottom, to take that point and make it contested. I actually have to watch that again, guys. I think I missed the very ending of that. Let's go back real quick because I was talking too much and didn't see how this ended. So yeah, blue sneaks, basically contests all 3 points, then cleans up top, it looks like, to take top very briefly, sends another cheap set of units to mid, and because they have top, contested bottom with that tiny unit, and then contest mid with just one super cheap unit, they have just that split second where they cap top and then contest the other two for that just super small advantage. And you'll note they even let red have an advantage for a little while there to make sure the missile bar kept filling up. So that was all about microing. That was pretty cool. So now I think we're going to move into the second game. There's so much happened there so fast. This game is so quick that it's hard to keep track of everything. Obviously, you can't commentate or cast every individual micro action, but it was really all about cheap units, and micro there, I think, is why that game was won. That's not something I'm seeing a lot of. People are really more focused on committing to 1 or 2 units at a time, big stuff, just trying to win fights. But that showed me there's a lot more leeway in building small stuff and just contesting, like just bouncing around like crazy. That's something I need to learn because I'm not that good at microing yet, and clearly it has a big impact. So here we're moving into a second game from Jade, Zion, and Blue Sky. And this is a unit I haven't seen much here in the middle. It's taken this joint between the 2 control points. This is an MG squad, and then they plant themselves down, and then they can attack up to 2 tiles away. So this is an incredible asset to put right there where it can reach both of the control points. I know that's not going to be possible on every map, but that thing did some work, and it also is just really defensive once it sets down. It takes less damage, so really powerful unit. But here again, we see a lot of cheap units being cranked out. 1 harvester for each side. That seems to be a pretty predominant strategy right now, something I didn't really realize. Not overcommitting to harvesters, also not diving harvesters. We see a lot of that in my league. People will try to kill harvesters early. Seems like people are playing this a little more straight up, just trying to get their own game plan and strategies moving. Although, as I say that, red moves to contest this harvester for blue on the bottom of the map. I don't know if blue is going to be able to stop that. I don't think they really have anything happening here. It looks to me like that harvester is going to go down. But blue does get some choppers out here to contest both points. And the missile bar is filling up pretty far and fast here. So it looks like blue might be able to hold this first missile, although you never really know, right? Who knows what's going to happen? That giant unit from red coming in, cleaning up the choppers, is going to change that. But it looks like blue does just have enough small units here to hold, and indeed does push that first missile launch. Blue is using the turret there in the same sort of joint. I'm calling it the joint. That one tile in between the 2 points. Seems like a really pivotal spot that can reach a lot of different things. You can choke point as well because you'll see those boulders placed diagonally along the points too. So that creates a pathing issue where the units have to go all the way around that boulder to get to the point. So it really seems like contesting this. And again, that MG squad is cleaning up in that area, just attacking everything from far away. That is a huge defensive advantage. I don't know how red is going to counter that. It seems like they're having trouble dealing with that. Just multiple units just dying to that one MG squad. I can hardly believe it. It's cleaning up everything, and it can reach the whole, both control points. It can reach every tile on both control points. That is unreal. That is absolutely insane. And it's still going. It still hasn't been killed. I don't think red has a counter. Red decides to just go straight for blue's base because there's nothing else for that unit to do. It seems to be like red here is kind of floundering without a real game plan or strategy. Maybe doesn't have the necessary counters here. Although, that said, did make a little push there now and suddenly has control. Man, blue cannot answer these big aerial units, it seems. Red pushes back, gets the launch there. The MG squad was a big commitment for blue. And Red sort of just tanked it with small units. He said, you know what? No, I don't have to worry about it too much. I'm just going to keep sending stuff your way. And eventually, because it wasn't actually on a point, that MG squad, it was more of a control of the area as opposed to the actual point. It looks like Red is able to just take the points and just kind of brute force it, just kind of zerg it, as you might say, in gaming, just sending lots and lots of units. So pretty crazy stuff there. Red still just sitting in lots and lots of cheap infantry units, and Blue is doing its best with these choppers, but the choppers keep getting countered by Red's own aerial. So Red just absolutely brute forces it down, despite having a lower level base, lower level units in many cases, and getting off to a really bad start against those MG squads. Again, it's small units that seem to be overwhelming people. So you've got small units, you've got people rushing people down. That seems to be a common theme in Tiberium League, at least with the 2 games we saw. And clearly we only watched 2. There could be a million more, but that's something I haven't seen a lot of, and something that is good to know and a good thing to learn. So my big takeaways there: microing is incredibly important, both for, disruption of your opponents, kind of pushing them out of control points, changing their pathing, setting up defensively first, just keeping them busy and occupied so that they're not maybe making the most opportune decisions or plays. And there's the MG squad that absolutely seemed to dominate that game. Seemed to, but didn't really effectively dominate the game at all because it got countered. And again, it was the aerial units for Red which did it, and the MG squad is not good, as we can see, against aerial units. It's only good against infantry and ground vehicles. So, microing small units, staying really flexible with your units, building cheap stuff, just kind of overwhelming. One harvester was a good takeaway. So I learned a few things there, and I'm sure as I get better and better, I'll see even more, because one of the problems is you don't always see all the decisions being made, especially in a game like this, which is so fast and so much is happening so rapidly. It can be hard to keep track of all the different little decision points. Maybe watching in slow motion could help even more in the future. That might be something we do later. But still some big takeaways and still some improvements as far as I'm concerned. I think that was a great exercise. I'm going to watch more of these games, and I would encourage you guys to do the same. I'll do my best to teach you what I can, but right now I don't know everything. So having this asset and this ability in the game, I think, is a really cool tool for improving your gameplay. We already learned some stuff today, and there's a lot more to learn. All that said, a few last things I want to mention here. Of course, Command & Conquer Rivals is a real-time strategy game on a mobile platform, as you can see. It was made by EA's Redwood Studios, who I think is doing a great job listening to community feedback so far and making changes to cards, making changes to the games, implementing new stuff, and really supporting the competitive side of things as well. If you're interested in this game, you can hit the link in the description below to download it for your mobile platform of choice. And one last exciting thing I want to mention: you can tune in at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on January 12th for a Command & Conquer Rivals launch celebration on the Twitch channel for the game, which is twitch.tv/CNC Rivals. You should see that text next to me to get some more details there. So if you're curious about what this game's going to be all about and how it's going to be supported in the future, it sounds like this is a really exciting opportunity to learn more. So all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the game. As you can see, it's an RTS that requires a lot of control. It's maybe not the RTS of old that you know and love, but I think it's been adapted really well to the mobile experience. You still have control of your units. That micro is important. Countering units is important, all of which makes it super fun. And you can see the skill cap is rather high comparing my gameplay to some of those Tiberium League players. So I do hope you'll check it out and share your thoughts and comments on the game below. All that said, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, game on.